Alright, what's going on guys? Hope you're all doing well. So today's video, you've seen the title, you already know what it's about, but we're going to be talking about how to spool and set up your new bait casting reel. Now this isn't a new bait casting reel, it's my old reel, but I can't afford a new reel, but I need to put a new line on this. So yeah, we're going to use this old reel, but we're going to pretend it's a new one. And yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to set your new bait casting reel up, because it is different to a fixed ball reel. There is certain things that you definitely need to remember without screwing up. And yeah, bait casting reel. This one doesn't sound the best. Need to get some oil for it. But yeah, we're going to use it anyway. So the first thing that you are going to need, you bought your new bait casting reel, you've got your braid. This is a heavy reel, so we're going to put in some heavy braid on it. I think this is 79-pound braid, 0.35 mil, which is the important bit, diameter of the braid. So we're chucking heavy loads with this. Obviously, if you're using a lighter reel, you'll use lighter braid, etc. The first thing you're going to do before you put your braid on now is you need to put some mono backing. I've got some 10-pound mono backing on there already. Tie that directly to the spool. Put maybe 20 yards, 30 yards, something like that. You don't need a huge amount of mono backing on, especially if you've got a low diameter reel, a low line capacity reel. You're not going to want much. The reason you need the mono backing though, and it's essential on a bait casting reel, if you don't, especially if it's a smooth spindle on the reel, like this one's pretty smooth. Some have got holes in and stuff like that, but if it's a smooth one, your braid 100%, as soon as it gets wet, will start slipping. You'll think your reel's broken, you'll think your drag's broken, and yeah, it's not good. You will have to re-spool your reel once you figure out what it is. So mono backing, essential when you're using a bait casting reel, essential. I've seen so many people, like when I've been out on the bank, that are like, I think my reel's, I've got a new reel, I think it's broken, pulling line like super easy. It's like, yeah, have you put mono back in? No, that's the reason. So mono backing's essential. It doesn't matter what diameter it is or what line it is, just, yeah, you need mono backing. I think this is just 10 pound. I tie it direct to the spool with a blood knot, I believe. It doesn't really matter, just use whatever knot you want. You're not going to get down to your mono backing, or you shouldn't be getting down to your mono backing anyway. So, you got your mono backing on. That's the first thing we're doing. Now we're going to add the main line. So you're going to put this through the level wind, like so. This is called the level wind right here. So this, when you wind in, it moves side to side. Some move on a cast, like this one. When you cast and the line's going out, the level wind will move with the line. Some, it will stay perfectly still when you're casting and it'll only move when you retrieve. Depends on the reel, obviously. But yeah, you're going to put your mono straight through your level wind like this. So, get your mono back in, got a little bit of mono there. Now I'm going to attach it to my rod. Just makes it easier to spool up basically. So, just the butt end of the rod. This is the rod I use for this reel, which is my Savage Gear SG4. I mean, you could have had it attached to the rod already, but yeah, I'm just attaching it now. Doesn't really matter. So we are gonna tighten this down. So the reel's on the rod. You've got your mono backing on there. Now we're gonna add the braid. I like to go through the first eye on the rod. You don't have to do that. I just find it's easier like that. So I'm just gonna put that through the first eye. You don't have to, like I said. That's what I'm gonna do. Making sure the mono's through the level wind. And then I'm going to tie these together. I'm just going to do an all bright knot. So I'm going to do that super quick and then show you guys once the knot is done. Alright guys, so I've done that knot like there, as you can see. Now I'm not going to get down to this knot. This, like I said, this is a rare high capacity reel. There's no way I'm going to cast down to that knot ever. But I do like to make it strong just in case. Especially if you've got a smaller line capacity reel where you might get down to the backing, especially if you hook a big fish, it's pulling tons of drag, etc. Make sure you've got a strong knot. So I've done, like I said, it's an all bright knot. I do braid round mono, even though the braid's thicker than the mono. It's meant to be the thin one round the thick one with an all bright, but that's how I've done it with this. It's very strong and it won't braid. So I'm just going to cut the tag ends off. I forgot to bring scissors with me, so I'm going to go grab some scissors and then we're going to get to some spooling. So tag ends are off as close as you can to the knot, because you don't want to make too much of a lump in the spool. Basically it'll affect your line lay and everything like that. So we're just going to take the first bit of braid onto the reel there, just like the first wrap of braid. Super dark, but hopefully you can see we've got like one full okuma across the spool once with the braid. Now, the main is another very important thing when you're spooling a bait caster that's different from when you're spooling a fixed spool reel. The beauty of the braid as tight as possible, like super tight. Do it slow, do it as tight as you can through your fingers, and yeah, make sure it's tight as you can. Now, I'm using a drill to hold my line. Like, you can hold your line however you want, it's not really important, same as if you're doing a fixed spool. I tend to like just put mine on a drill like this. I'm just tightening that down. So that's it's on a screwdriver on a drill. That ain't coming off there. It's not super tight on there. You can obviously do it super tight onto something if you want, but that I'm just showing you that's how my line's going to be while I'm doing this. Just what I had available basically. And next, to make sure the line's tight, I'm going to hold it tight through my fingers. Obviously you don't want to do it with just plain fingers. You'll get burn, you'll get a green finger, it's not fun. So I'm just going to put an old work glove on to do this. You can just use a towel, you can use a tea towel. You can have someone hold the spool, if you've got another person, hold the spool super tight so it's wound on tight. But I've got to emphasise, you need the line wound on tight. If you don't have it tight, your line will dig in, you'll get backlashes, you'll take ages picking it out, and it's not what you want. Because unlike a fixed spool, the line comes off at an angle on a fixed spool. This comes off straight from the spool. So any extra pressure on that pull is pulling onto the line. I'll just pull it into the line. Like the top layer of line will pull into the bottom layers of line. It'll be a mess. You don't want that. You want your line to be super tight. Got that first wrap on. I'm gonna hold my hand as far away from the reel as I comfortably can. This gives you a better line lay. You don't want it to be pulled off to the side or the other side or something like that, because your line will bunch. You need to hold it centered. Hold it as far away as you can, as close to that first ring as you can really. I'm gonna take that and wrap it around my finger once, pinch it with my thumb. I'm just gonna slowly, I'll push back there, slowly start winding that super tight. You want that to feel really difficult to wind. Keeping that hand away, holding it tight as possible, and slowly winding that on. You don't want to do it super fast and loose. You want to do it tight as possible. Some people like to put the spool in water when they're loading braid onto bait casting reels. I don't see the point in doing that. I mean, you can do it, and it will give you a tight wind as well if you hold the line tight, but you don't need to do that. It's just sort of messy. Your line's going to get wet after your first time fishing anyway. So we're just going to spool this. I'll show you where I end up stopping. Right, that's about as much line as we're going to need. Got sore arm now, so I'm going to cut that off there. Show you guys how much braid I've put on that reel. Alright, so I might have actually overfolded this a little bit more than what I normally would. But hopefully you can see we're probably like 3 or 4 mils below that silver rim. Quite full. The line lay's a little off as well. I think that's just down to the reel being quite old. But it's very tight on there. Even though I've done it like as tight as possible, I probably will still be able to pull that, my drag's kind of loose, I probably still will be able to pull that braid into the line, just to show you guys how that digs in. I'll try to be able to see, but yeah, that braid dug in there. That's what you don't want basically. So if your line's super loose, it will dig straight in. So now, put it through the rod rings, tie a leader on, and then I'm going to go through how to set up your brakes, drag, and then we're going to go bed the reel in basically. Alright guys, got my leader tied on, got a big old FG knot, straight to the main line, and then crimped clip on the end. Standard, but we're not talking about leaders today, we're going over the reel, so I'm just going to clip this line on real quick, but we are pretty much ready to go now. But you just need to set your brakes up, set your drag, and then go bed your line in, which is the main thing. So first thing we're going to look at is the drag. When I'm fishing my bait caster, I usually have it tight as I can. So it's basically hold the reel as you would normally hold it towards you with the star drag like this. That loosens the drag. You can, super loose. Tighter drag, push it away from you, like so. Still pretty loose that, so we'll rock that up way tighter So, damn tight drag. It will still move on a big fish, but I like to have it super tight. Obviously, you don't have to have it super tight, but that's how I like it. So that's a drag. 2 braking systems on a bait casting reel. Got this one right here, this little knob right there. It's like the opposite to the drag. Pull that, turn it towards you, like so. We'll ramp that up. That tightens it. So when you cast, there's more it puts more tension on the spool basically, so the spool's less free spinning when you cast. Because if the spool's spinning faster than the lure's traveling, that's how you get a backlash. So that one basically slows the speed of the spool down. I have it quite loose normally, but we'll adjust these on the bank when we're used to it. Typically, you'll want to set up where the lure slowly falls from the rod tip. You don't want it to whiz down to the ground because that'll make the spool spin faster than it needs. You want the lure to slowly fall from the rod tip. But I'll show you that when we get on the bank, when you're setting that up. But that's the first braking system. Towards you tightens, away from you loosens. On this particular reel, it might be different on other reels. But yeah, that's how it is on this reel. I think that's how it is on most reels as well. Next, you have an internal drag on this side. So you take that side off. Simply, this one's got a little screwdriver port there that we just undo with our screwdriver. Just undo that, flip that out, twist that up or down, whichever way it goes. And that side pulls off like so, and then you have your drag. Now, some of them have a dial. This one doesn't. This has, like, it's super dark on the camera, but hopefully you can see what's going on there. This has got 1, 2, 3, 6 points, which basically, if they're on, it adds more spool tension. If they're off, it's less. So I just sort of leave mine set up all the time the same as it is. So I've got 1, 2, I've got 3 on, 3 off. So it's like sort of half power. If it's a dial, sometimes they're external as well, the dials, but if it's a dial, it'll go from min to max. Min is less spool tension, max is more. Pretty common sense, but yeah, that's your other brake again. Adjust that on the bank while you're at, and just put that side back on. So that is all the indoor setup done. Anyway, we just need to go, bed the line in, make sure everything's set up right for the size of lures that we're using. Obviously, different size lures need different spool tension. It's a lot easier to cast heavier lures. So if you've never used a bait casting setup before, try use lures that are on the top end of what your rod's capable of casting on. So if you've got sort of a medium setup, it's like what a lot of people start with, maybe a 10 to 50 gram, something like that. Start with the 50 gram lures. They're a lot easier to cast than 10 gram lures, I'll tell you that straight off the bat. But we're gonna go out now, go to the bank, bed this line in, and then we're good to go. So, see you guys on the bank. Alright guys, just come out to bed the line in. Got my new setup, got a lure on, it's about 130 grams, Kobe perch, rigged up. And we are gonna bed this in now. So, like I said, you gotta get your brakes set up first. If the lure falls too fast, the reel will keep going after the lures touch the water if you don't stop it properly. Or it'll speed up, the spool will go faster than the lures travel in the air, which will cause a backlash as well. So we're gonna adjust that slightly, tighten that brake down. See, that lure's falling very slow, and a little looser than that. Bit too fast. Perfect. Lure's falling slow. Hopefully you can see that, I'm not sure you can. But slow fall from the lure. When it touches down, the reel's not backlashing at all. The reel just stops. Exactly what you want. So we're gonna do a few short casts there. When you first get your bait caster set up, you want to start with short casts. Slowly get longer, slowly loosen the brakes off while you get used to it, and then you're good to go basically. So short cast there, and we're just going to do a few, getting longer and longer, a bit more confidence each cast, and then you're good to go really. Just making sure that line's not digging into itself, which is something you want to avoid. So once you've got a bit of moisture in the line, you don't have to worry about that too much. Casting like a dream this new line, I'm not gonna lie. I did oil my bearings on this reel, so it's, yeah, casting real nice right now. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video anyway, guys. Hopefully that's been helpful for anyone who was interested in setting up a new bait casting reel. A young lad called Jakob, I believe, sent me an email a couple of weeks ago now requesting I do this video, so yeah, I thought I'd do it. So hopefully it's helped some other guys out, and yeah, enjoy your new bait casters if you've got one. So that's going to do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you next time.